Hello everyone, I am Morgan Kanan and this is episode 10 of my Regrowth Let's Play series. Last episode we put together a nice mana gen for Botania that is designed to be fed with food. As you can see, I've rearranged the crops a little bit, just got things in a more logical sorting out. And I've done a little bit of work driving towards automating these fields. So if we go down, let's start with auto harvesting. So for auto harvesting, I'm going to be using the Botania Drum of the Wild, which is going to harvest like a 22 by 22 area around it. It's pretty big. So all of these fields together needed 6 drums to handle. I currently have 4 set up. And these drums get activated by hitting them with a mana pulse. Often you'll use a redstone mana spreader to send that pulse or something like that. So what I've done is over here I have built my little auto harvesting setup. So what this is this is a mana distributor. So whenever it gets hit by a pulse, it evenly splits them between these 2 pools. And surrounding these pools are 3 redstone mana spreaders with a force relay sitting on top. And those are activated by this redstone chain here that's timed by this timer. Now, the way that force relays work is there's a few things you can do with them, but in this case, what I've done is I have used my wand to bind the force relay to the block underneath the drum. I've done this for each of the relays to a different drum. These 2 are not bound to anything because I don't have the drums in place. And I'm feeding mana into this via a chain of mana spreaders, which are automatically filled via spark from my mana gen. Now I have put wool on all the mana spreaders to quiet them down because they can be quite loud when they fire. So all the mana spreaders here are coated with wool. Now these are the elven mana spreaders made with dreamwood, and these are the redstone mana spreaders, so they shoot a pulse when activated with redstone. So the only thing that this really needs is it needs some sand to time it. So I'm going to set the timer, at least initially, at 20 seconds. And there appears to be a bug in multiplayer. In single player, when these activate, you'll actually see a beam of energy shoot out to their target point. You don't see that in multiplayer. But if we just listen for the thump of the drum, we'll see that it's working. So there was the thump of the drum. Now, I've also built some automation for the crops as they're coming in. So right off the bat, most importantly is going to be our magical food. So for magical food, what I have is I have this pipe network, which is pulling from the chests. We have hopper hawks pulling into the chests, and that comes down, and these all join together, and they go into a storage drawer controller, which is connected to these storage drawers, which are locked and set up for each one of these things. Now, also attached to that drawer controller are autocrafters, the auto assemblers, and these are configured with schematics. That's kind of important because they eat up about 3 times more server load when they don't have a schematic, if you just have a recipe configured in them. So I have one here which is set up to make magical food, and I have another chain which is set up to create the essences, and these get shifted down the line and put into these barrels. Now these barrels have an ender upgrade in them, so they can be accessed from pretty much anywhere just by linking another barrel to them. One of the tricks with these is if you have a recipe that requires a reusable item, like the stone here, you just throw a stone in the inventory with the thing, and it'll go. So this setup pulls anything out and sends it to the controller, and this is a clay pipe, so a clay pipe inserts into the attached inventory before trying to pass anything down the chain any further. So it tries to insert into the storage, the drawer controller. If it can't, it's going to send it this way into this void pipe. So any extra that gets picked up will automatically get sent to the void pipe. For all of the other things, I've done some very similar methods. So as you can see, this hopper hawk is placing into these crafty crates from Britannia, which are set up with the donut pattern, which is what's needed for all of the metals. So whenever they've picked up 8 of an essence, it gets compacted into the ore and stored into these barrels, and that is also ender-linked barrels. Similar thing over here, except we only have the aluminum ore that needs crafting, and then things like the dye essence and the nether wart water artichoke, those are just getting stored, and again these are ender linked barrels, so we can access these materials anywhere. And again, the aluminum gets crafted into ore, dropped, picked up by this hopper hawk, and put in this barrel. The reason that I'm using the crafty crate instead of the auto assembler is getting stuff out of the auto assembler has to be done with pipes or hoppers, which can be slow, and these recipes actually craft quite a few ores, so I want to be able to drop them and pick them up as quickly as possible. So this hopper and barrel allows me to do that. Now in cases where like this, where we're just storing an item, all of these barrels have void upgrades in them, so that if the barrel gets full, it won't stop picking up that item. And in cases where I just had 4 items that needed a void, like right here, I'm picking up all of these items, and if there's too many, it just overflows into this chest. So for the... So this is how I've handled most of these first stage things, when you have a material like the redstone essence that just gets turned into redstone, and I've done this. Now if you have something like, earth essence, that has a bunch of different things you can make out of it, or you have your ores, that requires some further automation. So if we go downstairs, we can see that further automation. So over here, I have built a set of smelteries. This is kind of built on a trick with the smeltery. So as you see, my fire essence is going here, getting turned into lava. I have my iron essence, my iron ore going here, gold ore, copper ore. This would be tin, I think, and aluminum. Now this giant smeltery wall is built using a kind of trick, and that is that smelteries can share blocks. So if I go around the back of this and look, you can see these 2 smelteries. The smeltery is only 1 wide, and it shares this wall between the 2 smelteries. And all the smelteries like this allows me to fit a lot of smelteries in a fairly small place, and these smelteries don't need a very high throughput to handle it. And I have a very simple, wooden pipe extracting in, and then that gets pulled up by a barrel with a hopper upgrade. And all of these are kept full with lava from the first smeltery, which is melting down the fire essence. So this is how I'm handling all of the metals, and again, these are ender linked barrels, so I can just get to this barrel content wherever I am. Then over here we have an example of what I'm going to do for a lot of the other crafting that needs to be done. So here we're taking fire essence and earth essence, and out of those 2 things I'm making dirt with this auto assembler. I am making sand with this auto assembler. and I am making cobblestone with this auto assembler, and it's just automatically pulling from the barrels. Over back upstairs, you'll see I put together a wall of barrels just so that I have a barrel that I can link new barrels to in a handy place. So these are all of the items that are either crafted or collected by the farms. Some of these barrels we don't really need hanging around, like I might repurpose the barrels here for the ores, because we don't really need to keep those around. Things that only turned into one thing, or predominantly they only have one use for their essence, I just auto-crafted to what I want them to be, you know, experience. Essence, while you can use it to color things, I decided to just convert that straight to experience drops, that sort of thing. So that is what I've done for automating both the collection and crafting of what's coming out of my fields. It's really simple. There's not a lot of complex automation here. The magical food over there is probably the most complex, and that's only because it has so many different ingredients. And of course, just the way the farm's laid out, it was combined with the essence. So I had to handle that here too, and just craft that right down to its highest. And the reason I do that is because this can actually be crafted down without any special thing, but you need the stone to craft it up. So that means that I'm just always going to have a barrel of the highest tier essence. I'm always going to have a barrel of magical food. Now that barrel of magical food is, of course, tied to this mana gen. So as the mana gen needs to generate mana, it will do so. I've also tied that mana gen to some pools on the surface, which are tied to each other to keep my elven portal powered all the time. I have managed to build my my blast furnace, my coke oven. Now, one of the things that I did do is I unlocked trephid seeds, which allows me to break into Thaumcraft, though I have not done much with that yet. We'll get into that in a bit of a later episode. So this is the state of automation. All of these farms are automated except for the last few down here, which I'll be getting to. I actually don't yet have enough plants to fill in all the fields. But that's coming. There's still a whole bunch of plants I haven't been able to breed yet because they require materials from the nether that I haven't collected yet. And I think that is probably going to be our next episode, going to the nether to collect the various ores, and I'll show you how I do that. I try to short circuit that progression a little bit to make it go a bit faster, and I'll show you what tools and techniques I use for that. In the meantime, I have a whole bunch of quests to turn in. So next, why don't we turn in those quests and just talk about what can be done with them. And so let me get ready to do that, and then we'll be right back. Alright, I have emptied my inventory and I'm ready to turn in some of these quests. So let's take a quick look at our quest book, shall we? So at the start here we have some more Way the World Works quests. Basically I did the brewing and the tainted blood pendant, the incense. All of these are good for having constant potion effects. The incense will do a large area as long as the incense burning, and this is kind of like a potion you wear around your neck. It's active as long as you have mana. So let's turn these in. So I'm going to get an incense stick. I'm going to get a potion. And I'm going to get a tainted blood pendant. Then next is in What the World Teaches. That was getting my Thaumonomicon to get started in Thaumcraft. what the world enables, I've done quite a bit of the machinery quests. So I went and got some oil from one of the spouts that's out at sea there, and I built a rolling machine and a little steam engine to power it. Built a carpenter. Using the carpenter, I was able to build the bloomery, and of course, coke oven to get creosote oil and coke, also for the bloomery. The blast furnace, which allows me to make steel, and the squeezer, and then under what the world is built from, I bred a bunch more plants, so regeneration seeds, which allow potions of regeneration. Water breathing seeds should be pretty self-explanatory. Night vision seeds. These all let you make potions. They're pretty good potions. Fire resistance and strength potion. I also made ghast seeds and wither seeds, which are growing out in the garden. And then in Life of the World, I created the Fallen Night eggs. And then under Way the World Grows, as I mentioned earlier, I did the Trephid seeds. The Way the World Feels, which is Thaumcraft, I got kind of started in that, so I made my wand. I made my crucible. I got my greatwood saplings and got some greatwood out of that. I made my silverwood saplings. Now it's good that I'm getting 4 silverwood for this this quest, because I actually did not get a sapling when I planted my silverwood tree and pulled it. I built my tables, my research table and my arcane crafting table. Of course, I built my thermometer. And that covers the quests. So let's dump what we got here into a chest. That's not a bad little haul. So the next big thing that I would say we want to do is let me show you what I have done for going out in the water. So I have a ring of cordata, which lets me breathe underwater and improves my movement. I also, if I can find where I stuffed it, built the diving suit for mariculture, and I got myself a diving helmet. And if I put the diving helmet on and I have the ring of cordata in my inventory and a source of mana, let me show you what going underwater is like. So it's a pain to go underwater, but with this combination of items, it is full view, no obstruction of viewpoint. I can move very fast, and if you watch my air, when it expires, it just comes back, and that should happen as long as I have oxygen. So now, right here, you'll see these bubbles coming out of this piece of sand here. That means that there's mariculture natural gas underneath this. This is actually something I need to go get. So maybe what I'll do with the remaining video is I'll get the stuff together to go collect that natural gas, and then we can go see what that's all about and get that quest accomplished, and then talk about what is in store for next episode. So let me go get that stuff, and I will be right back. Alright everyone, I'm back, and I believe I have everything I need to get natural gas. That is for this quest, Big Daddy. Big Daddy has you make a diving suit, of which I only used the helmet because I had to bring a cordata to handle the rest. Air pump, same deal. Though we'll use the air pump for collecting natural gas. Go to the bottom, find some stuff, ancient sand, which you use to make hardened glass, coral and coral rock. And then finally to get a bottle of natural gas, so that's where we're at. So we're going to go take a look at that now. To get natural gas, I brought a pump and some tanks, a redstone torch, a lever, the barrels, the bottles for that, just some building blocks, some glowstone for light, and my standard tools. I'm also outfitted with the diving helmet and the ring of cordata, so that I can handle the water effectively. And as I said, when you're looking for natural gas, you're going to be looking for these bits of sand that have bubbles coming out of them. And there's one right over here. You can see it right there. And what you're going to find is you're going to find that there are these pockets underneath these, sometimes pretty far down, that are going to have some natural gas in them. So I'm going to dig down here, and just to make life a little easier, I'm going to plug up that hole, so now I don't have to fight with water. And now we're just going to dig down. You do have to be careful. Sometimes the holes are quite big. Sometimes we'll dig down here and we will find that there is no gas pocket. So let's just dig and see how far down we have to go before we find the pocket. I'm going to just grab a piece of glowstone so that we're not in pitch black. Now I'm not using torches because if I remember correctly, the natural gas is flammable. So when we reach it, it might explode if exposed to a torch. So here's our pocket. So let me put down a glowstone, and notice I'm getting all of these horrible effects. So that is a sure sign that there's natural gas in this area. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my pump and some tanks. I'm going to put down a lever. We're going to spin the pump, and you can see it's already collecting natural gas. Sounds like there's some enemies near us, but we look like we're in a fairly enclosed area, so I think we're okay. So we're just going to keep doing this. Okay, now we've got 2 full tanks of natural gas, so let me get some in bottles here, just by right-clicking there. So now I'll just spin this a bit more, make sure that tank fills back up. We look good. Now I'll pick up these tanks. Mariculture tanks keep their contents when broken, so that's good. I have mining fatigue, so everything goes very slowly down here. Alright, so now that that's taken care of, I'm just gonna build my way out of here. Let's leave this open. And there we go. We have gutting our natural gas. As needed for the quest. We can turn this quest in now. I actually believe that may have completed another quest for us right here in Where the World Teaches, which is to collect these books, which I now have collected the last one. And if we look at what the world enables, Big Daddy's complete. I got some pearls, and that is that quest. Now, I'm probably not going to be doing a lot with this stuff, but it was good to get the quest completed. Now, for next episode, what I'd like to do is I would like to get some of these materials: Ardite, cobalt, osmium, sulfur, amber, and cinnabar, and rutile. All of these I will have to go to the nether and collect nether ores, and if we look at what the world enables, we can see there's actually a quest line for this, which is to go find nether copper ore, and this quest line will continue all the way up to osmium and ardite and cobalt. The way this quest is set up is it's done in stages. It'll have you go get, for example here, copper, then maybe it has you go get coal, then it has you go get iron or diamond or emerald, and you got to track down every type of ore. Now the nether's hostile. Pigmen don't like when you take ores from them, so and of course the ores themselves sometimes explode when mined. Some of the ores can be rare and hard to find, so I put together a bunch of various tools and things like that to help me with that process. And next episode, we will probably take some time to go into the nether and at least start the process of finding all of these various materials. I don't know that we'll find them all in the course of one episode, but we'll see. So until next time, this is Morden Kanan, and everybody have a good one.